Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a whole bunch of new stuff. A new year. So happy New Year. I hope everyone had a great holiday and a happy New Year. And let's see what else. We're in a brand new, of course, workout for the week. That's normal. It sounds weird to say week one. So welcome to week one of this year. But also, it is a new month, January. But it's a new warm up and cool down. So as we know from past months when we've changed the warm up and cool down, it takes a little while because it's a whole lot of new movements we're going through. So because of that, this week's workout is going to be just a little on the shorter side. So and there is no team builder as well to dedicate just a little bit more time to that warm up and cool down. So that being said, let's explain the workout for the week. There are two small circuits. Each one only has 3 exercises in them. And they're going to be only 2 rounds as well. That's a little bit different. Normally we have maybe 3 or 4 rounds, right? The rounds are also timed differently. Round 1 is going to be 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. And round 2 is going to be 45 seconds on, 25 seconds off. So very different for that second round. All right, we got 6 exercises to do in our workout portion of the routine this week. Let's review what those are. Okay, exercise 1 is a medicine ball box squat. So we have a box or a bench, of course, and box squats is basically doing a squat with the box that's behind and underneath you. I should actually probably show you more to the side. So we're not taking a full seat like this. You're really only putting about 25%, maybe 25 to 40%. I'm really just picking a number of your body weight down on the box. So you're basically thinking of it like kind of tapping your rear to the seat, to the box. So as soon as you kind of feel that box touch your butt, then you're coming back up. So it's kind of more there as a guide or a marker, but you do put a little bit of weight down, and we're going to be holding a medicine ball. You hold it at your chest. Try not to have it glued to your chest, like you're not pressing it against your body. So you're holding it maybe, you should be able to slide a piece of paper between your body and the ball. So it's very close, but you're not pressing it into your body. What that does is if you're not holding it against your body, that helps to engage a little bit of these front delt muscles in the chest, okay? So you step a little bit in front of the box so your feet aren't touching it, and boop. So what you don't want is the back of your hamstrings. If you're too close to the box, your hamstrings are going to touch before your butt. So you do want to be out a little bit so that your legs here don't touch before your butt does. So that's kind of important. So again, you kind of almost do like a half or maybe a quarter sit. So you put a little body weight down, but we're not taking a full sit like this and swaying and swinging, nothing like that. Okay, you can definitely choose to do that without the ball. Put the ball down, do the box squat, body weight only. That's definitely an option if you prefer to do that. The weights and adding a load is always optional. So that is our first exercise, medicine ball box squat. The next exercise is a high plank toe tap. So you're going to be, high plank refers to being on your hands versus on your forearms. So it really has nothing to do with being up on an incline. But I am going to show you the incline option first. So I'm going to be on my hands up on my box here. And I do want to show you the alignment that we want, meaning your hands should be directly under your shoulders. So a lot of times when we place our hands on an incline, we kind of tend to want to push into the item that we're up on, like the bench like this. But we actually want to scoot forward a little bit and see how now I'm positioning my shoulders directly on top of my hands, maybe like a tiny bit back. But for the most part, we want that alignment almost straight up and down and not way back here like this. So keep that in mind, okay? That also helps with typically when we're doing that, we also typically don't have proper plank form because now my hips are bent, right? Whereas if I shift my body forward, watch what happens to my plank form. My hips are coming down, and whoop, now I have that perfect straight line from the back of my head to the back of my heels, which is what we want with a plank. So all those cues, all those things to keep in mind. So I'm in my high plank, which means I'm on my hands, and we're going to tap the toes out to the side, alternating side to side, right and left. Okay? So that's our high plank toe tap. If you feel like you want more of a challenge with this, you can do a progression to a plank jack, which is instead of tapping the toes out to the side, you're jumping them. But be careful not to regress to back here. Okay, so do keep your body in that alignment. If you are at a point with your fitness level and you're ready to get down to a full plank on the floor, do your high plank fully on the floor. All the same stuff applies. We're not, butt isn't up in the air, and again, shoulders aren't way back here, but hands are way forward. Scoot your body forward, shoulders directly on top of hands, and we have our plank toe taps. Or if you're feeling ready for the challenge, plank jacks. Okay? So yeah, that is all the options involved with the plank toe taps. The last station for circuit 1 is a kneeling single arm reverse fly. So it's working. It's going to be a challenging movement. Most people should not be going over probably a 5-pound weight, maybe an 8, because it's working a very isolated, small area in the back of the shoulder. That's typically an area we don't target very often, and it's typically just a generally weaker area for everyone, no matter your strength or anything, right? Okay, I'm going to use a 5-pounder, and this is as heavy as I would go. Someone who lifts weights all the time, lifts very heavy. A 5-pounder is the weight I would do this with. So you're in hands quadruped position to start, but you don't remain quadruped because we're going to be lifting an arm up. So some people, I would have, 3 pounds, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 5 pounds. Soft bend in the elbow, very soft. See how I just bent my elbow really softly? Okay. And we're going to lead with the elbow. So you think of your elbow as kind of like a point, like an arrow. You're leading with that arrow, for lack of a better explanation. And keep your neck and spine neutral. So don't be looking to the side. Don't be looking up. Just keep looking. Your eyes and your nose are pointing straight down. Very slow and controlled. We're leading with that slightly bent elbow to the side and up. Okay, I just told you not to look, and now I am, but anyway. If the weight is too heavy, you'll find yourself, either if you're doing it properly and the weight's too heavy, you'll find yourself only being able to lift about here, and that's fine. Just go a little lighter. But if you're having a hard time with your ego and the weight's too heavy, you're going to be thrusting. You're going to be turning your body, using a jerking momentum movement, bending your elbow too much. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be unsafe. It's going to be using too much twisting and stuff on the shoulder that we don't want to be happening. So I'm sounding kind of harsh here, but I want you to go light. I want you to do it slow, controlled, and I want you to do this one properly to avoid all of that icky stuff that I just said. For some of our participants, doing this without a weight might even be the appropriate place to start, for real. This is almost, at this point, almost a physical therapy movement for shoulder, rear shoulder, posterior shoulder. Okay, so halfway through the set, you're going to switch sides. Your coach will simply call out halfway. Maybe from the front, you can see the soft bend in my elbow a little bit better and kind of see that soft bend. One thing I want you to look out for is not extending and bending from the elbow. So what we're not doing is, see how now I'm turning it into like a weird kind of bicep curl and extension. So make sure that that's not what you're doing, but the movement is all from here. So I'm keeping the same amount of slight bend in my elbow at all times. And I'm simply using my shoulder joints to do the raising and the lowering. I'm not turning my shoulders, meaning I'm not twisting at my waist or my hips. So I'm not doing any rotating like this. It's just a lift and a lower. So that was a lot of explanation, because for a seemingly simple movement, people overcomplicate this one quite a bit and turn it into too big, too much, and they go too heavy. So to get this tiny spot we want to get in the back of the shoulder, we want this one to be light, slow, controlled, and minimal movement. So this is a brand new one. We've never done this one in Defy. So anyone who's unable to get into that kneeling movement up position on the floor, easy peasy. We have take one of our boxes or benches and we do the exact same thing up on our incline. So no worries there if the floor is not an option for you. Good luck with this new move. Please go on the lighter side with the weight. Station 1 for circuit 2 is a lateral fast foot drill. So we haven't done agility ladder for a while, but we also haven't done the lateral one for a while. So lateral kind of just means we're going sideways, or conveys something is going to be happening sideways. Lateral typically means something to the side. So I'll just show it to you first, and then I'll explain what I'm doing. You go in, out, out, as quick as you can, down, and then I would do that same thing back the other way. Okay, so fast feet, as you could see, right? Going in each box and out of each box. Now, it's important to not get tripped up, is the direction that you're going. So right now, if I was going this way, I'm going to my left. It's important that you start leading with your left foot. So I'm going to my left, so I'm going to lead. I'm taking my first step with my left foot. Otherwise, if I'm going to my left, but I start with my right foot, I'm going to get all tripped up and then probably trip over my feet. So that's the most important thing to remember with this. So, but other than that, you go in, out, out. It's conceptually, it's as simple as that. But then we add speed and all of that stuff, and it's easier, then it's easier said than done, right? So we go in, out, out. Once you start adding the speed, it's more and more important to make sure you're staying on the balls of your feet. That's what helps with agility, right? So you're able to move and maneuver more quickly. So now I'm heading to my right. So I'm going to lead and take my first step with my right leg. In, out, out. In, out, out. Notice as I'm stepping out, I'm also kind of stepping kitty corner to get ready to get myself closer to the next box. So as I'm doing this, I'm constantly moving sideways. Okay, so there's a lot going on here. So it's a great coordination drill as well as the agility, and you'll get some cardio as well. Okay, a band tricep push down. We do this one actually quite often, I think, between the team builder stuff and the regular routine. So I'll try to make this really quick. Your bands will be hooked up overhead. Okay, I want you to stagger your stance. Okay, so whatever leg is more comfortable in front. Pull down and tuck your upper arm and your elbow into your side. That's just the starting position. That's where that arm stays. Palm is facing forward and or down, whatever verbiage, whatever makes more sense to you, kind of the same. And we press down all the way. So your arm is fully extended at the bottom if you can. If you need to stop right about here, fine. But maybe if that's the case, step in a little so that releases a little bit of tension, because we do want a full extension, because it's that full extension at the bottom. That's when you're actually contracting that tricep muscle the most. If you stop it right here, you're not really getting that full contraction. So you do want that full squeeze. The farther back you step, the more you're pulling tension. So the harder it's going to be. If you need to step in to make it a little lighter, fine. Okay. And yeah. Oh, wrists. Last thing. Make sure, watch my wrists here. Keep the wrists straight and strong. At the bottom of the movement, make sure you're not allowing the wrist to do this and bend up like this. That's what we don't want. So always have straight, strong wrists. And that is our tricep band extension. Okay, final station for this second circuit, a dumbbell RDL or Romanian deadlift. We actually do these quite a bit, so I know most of you are familiar. Dumbbell in each hand. Weights can be kind of kitty corner on the corners of your legs. They don't have to be perfectly in front. We actually don't want that, because watch what happens to my shoulders. It kind of protracts my shoulders, and we actually want more of shoulders retracted. So kind of keep them kitty corner on your thighs like so. It's a hip hinge movement. It's not a squat. So we put a soft bend in the knees, but then we pop the hips back. As we do that, we are hinging at the hip, right? And keep that movement coming down. Keep those weights very, very close to your shins. If they're falling out here, we're putting too much strain on our back in the wrong places. So shift the hips back, retract those shoulders even more. See how when I retract my shoulders, watch where my dumbbells go. It pulls them in closer to my legs, which is what we want. And then stand up. Usually just below the knee, somewhere around maybe mid shin is about a good depth or a good for where as far as how low to bring those dumbbells. And it's a slow, steady movement. Keep your body weight sort of sunken into your heels, so it almost might feel like you're slightly tipping backwards a little bit. Nice flat back, so we want to avoid any sort of rounded spine like this. If that's happening, pop those hips back, like so. And I know it's a lot of cues for a deadlift. One of the best movements, one of the best exercises there is. It's hardly even an opinion. It's just got that many benefits. So that's why we do them so often. But that is our final exercise in the second circuit. Okay, everybody, that concludes the first workout of the year. So I hope everyone enjoyed that, and hopefully you do it more than once throughout this week. I know the first week of the year could be very busy, and I hope you also enjoyed the new warm up and the new cool down. And we'll see you back next week.